everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com, and today we're talking about the failure of the Volkswagen 2.5 liter engine vacuum pump. These shows are the shows where we take a look at several different Volkswagen parts. We take them apart, we talk about how they work, how they fail, ways to diagnose their failures, and the symptoms that you'll see if they do fail. So before we get into the show, let's talk about the sponsor of the day, which is DeutscheAutoParts.com. These guys are an awesome part of both this community and the whole Volkswagen community. They're the Volkswagen Audi parts experts. They have great DIY videos. They even sent me this incredibly cool custom keychain, so thanks for that, guys. I really appreciate that. You know, I'm a beer guy, so they know how to get my attention. Anyway, great prices. If you guys ever need any help with Volkswagen parts, that's your go-to source. Check them out, DeutscheAutoParts.com, and I'll make sure I put a link to their videos and their website in the show notes today. So let's get talking about this 2.5 liter vacuum pump. Now what this is exactly what the name says it is. It's a pump that makes vacuum. This piece right here turns. This right here turns, creates vacuum, and that vacuum is actually supplied to the brake booster. The cool thing about this style of vacuum pump and supply to the booster is it's a constant supply of vacuum no matter what the load on the engine, whether you're accelerating or decelerating. So this is a good way to keep a constant vacuum supply to the brake booster, and that's actually really the only thing this part does. The way it works, and I'm going to go ahead and just unscrew it real quick and take it apart so you guys can see the insides of it. It's a very simple rotary pump. Here's the cover, and you can see right inside here, this piece turns around. It's actually driven by something behind the timing chain, or behind the timing cover rather, and as this rotates, it creates a vacuum, and that's supplied out of this line right to the pump, or excuse me, to the brake booster. Ways this pump fails, there's two ways that it can fail and only one I've ever seen. In theory, you could convince me that this plate right here could fail. What that would look like is a very hard brake pedal, reduced vacuum coming out, and you would again experience that as a very hard pedal. I have seen that exactly 0 times. So while it is possible, I don't think it's all that likely of a failure. The way these really fail, more common than anything, is they leak oil. So there's a gasket on the back, a metal gasket that goes between this pump and the timing cover. This bolts to the engine just like this. It actually bolts to the timing cover. So that pump seal can leak oil. There's also this rubber gasket, and if I can get this out of here, show you guys, this is the rubber seal between, there we go, between the cover and the pump itself. This is actually the one that leaks more often than the metal gasket behind there. The only problem is technically this pump is a sealed unit. Even though I've disassembled it in order to show you guys, technically you're not supposed to take these apart in order to replace them or rebuild them. Now, you could convince me that if you were doing a not warranty repair, you might be able to maybe make a bead of silicone around the surface here and reseal it, but you know, there wouldn't really be any guarantee that that would fix the oil. As far as why these fail, you know, this is really just a guess. I don't really think the metal gasket is typically the one that leaks. Like I said before, I think it's this one inside the pump here. My gut says that it's probably like a dissimilar metal issue or a weak rubber seal issue. And the reason I say that is the new pumps actually have an updated cover. It's made out of a different material, and I think the gasket is also different. So that's really what leads me to believe that it's probably more either a weak seal or a dissimilar metal between the pump and between the cover. But again, that's completely just my guess, and it probably has to do with, you know, the heat cycling of this material versus that material. So how do we diagnose this problem? I'm going to set this over here so you guys don't make fun of me for fiddling with it the whole time, which is fine, by the way. How do we diagnose this? Okay, this is really simple because it's an oil leak, right? No problem. The only thing is I've seen this particular part be mistaken for a leaking rear main seal a lot. And usually that looks something like this. A customer will come in and say they've been to another non-Volkswagen shop. that shop says they have a leaking rear main seal. And what you'll see is you'll see oil dripping between the engine and transmission. And to be fair, if you don't know the brand very well, I could see you really thinking that it's the rear main seal. But there's a really good trick that'll tell you that it's this pump versus a rear main seal. Even though at the bottom of the engine, it'll appear to be the same diagnosis, you have to lower the car and look at it from the top down. Remember that oil always leaks down. So if we start at the top, we'll see puddling on top of the transmission. There'll be oil in the wells of the transmission. There'll be oil down the front of the transmission. There'll be oil down the front of the engine, right where the two meet. And that's almost a dead giveaway that it's either this pump or something higher, even like the oil filler cap leaking, or maybe even the timing cover. But this is really, as far as oil leaks go on 2.5s, this is the most common part to fail and cause the oil leak. So you're probably wondering, is this going to be a part that I can do myself? Well, maybe. If you follow the repair manual, you'll find that it involves loosening and fastening the transmission. That means separating the engine and transmission. You do have to get this pump all the way out. You can see there's a little tab right here. This is the piece that actually is rotated. You have to be able to clear this all the way out in order to get it out. I know there's a lot of cheats and tricks and whatnot out there on the internet. I can't endorse that, but I will tell you that I'm sure if you look around on the internet, you'll find a way to cheat to get this pump out. Just remember that probably might void a warranty or something like that. But it's a heck of a lot cheaper than taking the transmission out of a car in order to replace a gasket. I've replaced several of these on 2.5s. The Beetles seem to be the most common, then Jetta, and you really don't see that many leaking on Golfs for some reason. There's no difference in the power plant really, so I don't know why maybe it's just a sheer volume of more Jettas, more Beetles than Golfs, but Beetles do seem to be the most common. And if you had, I mentioned that you have to take the transmission out. That's only for an automatic transmission. If you have a manual transmission, these are super easy. It's actually only 1, 2, 3 bolts. I think they're T30 Torx bits. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they're just T30s. And one little bracket to move out of the way that holds a wiring loom, and you got the pump. Make sure if you're replacing this, you clean the surface up really well, and also clean all the oil down the front of the engine so you can continue to watch and monitor and make sure you don't have any leaks. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. This one was nice and easy. If you have any questions about this part or any other failing Volkswagen part, post it in the comments section below. If you have a suggestion for a part you'd like me to do a video on, shoot me an email to charles@humblemechanic.com and put something like failed part in the subject line so that I know what you're emailing me about, and I can distribute those to the right folders and try and score you guys all the failed parts that you want to look at. I got a really cool one coming up in a couple of weeks that I can't tell you guys what it is just yet, but I have a feeling you are going to be blown away by it. And it also, this part will give me the ability to do a couple more really awesome videos for you guys. If you like the show, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. Your thoughts and comments are always welcome on the blog, on YouTube, on Facebook, and anywhere else, really. Don't forget you can subscribe on YouTube as well as on the blog. Wherever you like to get the notifications the best, subscribe there. You can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, like I said. Don't forget to check out the sponsor of the day, DeutscheAutoParts.com. I'll have links to all of that, everything we talked about today, in the show notes on YouTube and on the blog. Real quick though, if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the blog, humblemechanic.com. I actually put better notes in on the blog than I do on YouTube. It's just a formatting issue. I think it looks better on the blog than it does on YouTube. But anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.